Hello, I'm Noah Arsenault, Professor of Media Studies at San Diego State University. I'm making this video for my students, maybe students in JMS 200 right now or students in another class, also for my colleagues. I'm doing this from the floor of the NAB, that's National Association of Broadcasters, their convention for 2024. I'm here for the Broadcast Education Association Conference, BEA. BEA overlaps with NAB. NAB is a big trade show where all the radio and TV station owners find out about the new gear, all the tech people geek out about all the new stuff that's being made. So I'm going to put some video here. This is a video lecture I'm doing called TV Revenue Streams and Streaming. I'm going to explain the traditional model of broadcast television, the finances of that. I'm going to explain cable television, how that differs from broadcast television, and then I'm going to talk about streaming a little bit. And we're off. This way of dividing up media history comes from Amanda Lotz, okay? She begins by calling the early period phase one. We call this the network era, from mid-1950s to about 1980s. There were three major television networks: ABC, CBS, and NBC. ABC, CBS, and NBC. There was also the Dumont Network, which didn't last too long, but it did give us Ernie Kovacs and the Honeymooners. And then later, Fox, many years later, Fox was able to launch a broadcast network. Fox has a broadcast network and a cable channel associated with news, okay? But original era, ABC, CBS, NBC, there was very limited amount of viewer control. You could basically turn the TV set on or off. That was what it was. You couldn't watch reruns unless something was going to be rerun weeks later or over the summer. And the programming was free, F-R-E-E, free. The deal was you had to sit through a whole bunch of ads. Now, the original economics, I'm speaking in very, very broad brushstrokes, trying to go fast, cover a lot of terrain. The original model is that the TV networks are the dealer. They are not the manufacturer. They don't make the stuff. They sell the stuff, okay? The TV networks license shows from production companies. This is the farm. This is where the food is created. And then the TV networks are a distribution mechanism to get that food onto your table. I just listed a couple of production companies here: Warner Brothers, Paramount, and Sony. Now, then the network would pay your local affiliate. This is like your local dealer. This is the guy on the corner, okay? The TV networks pay that local dealer, hey, I'm going to give you some money. In exchange, you carry my product and only my product, okay? We refer to this as carrying a TV show. And if a network can have enough local dealers all across the country, local affiliates, then they have national distribution. So the network can then go to a big advertiser like Kraft, Nabisco, and say, hey, you know, you want to put your car commercial, Procter & Gamble, you want to put your soap commercial in front of every eyeball of every American. We are the mechanism to do that, okay? So the network is paying the affiliates to carry their shows, carry their product. Then the network turns around and charges the advertiser money. Now, if you understand basic economics, the amount of money you're coming in from advertising should be more than what you're paying the local affiliates. That's the ideal. Now we have an example, and I'm going to explain the difference between local and national programming here. Here is the evening programming lineup for CBS 8. That's local CBS affiliate here in San Diego from April 9th, 2024. From 6 to 7, we get local news. And if you remember from the other lecture, local news is where the local station is making its money. Then you have syndicated product. From 7 to 8, we got Entertainment Tonight, and then we got Inside Edition, okay? I'm going to explain syndication in a moment. Now we have a block of national network programming. This appears in prime time. Prime time is a time frame actually designated by the FCC. On weekdays, it's 8 to 11. On Sundays, it starts 1 hour early because you should be at home. That's the Lord's Day. I don't know what the logic is. Anyway, prime time starts 8. FBI, and now we got another FBI and yet another FBI show. Okay. This is the shows that's coming from the mothership of CBS being rebroadcast all over the nation through the local affiliate. And CBS is controlling most of the ad inventory in those shows. And then we go to local news at 11 o'clock. Now, syndication is kind of like the rerun market, the secondary market. These are shows that are created. They're either shows that are created specifically to be sold to local TV stations, market by market, or they're established hit shows that used to be on a broadcast network and then now have gone into their secondary rerun market. There used to be this philosophy, and this is long ago. I mean, this is really long ago, was that you needed 100 episodes of a show to be put into syndication. If a show is stripped, that's when a show airs 5 nights a week. Call that stripping. If a show is stripped 5 nights a week, you're going to get 20 weeks before the cycle of shows has to repeat. Now the number is much, much smaller. I don't think you need 100 episodes anymore to put your comedy or drama or whatever into syndication. Now, what's important here is to know that the production company makes the money, not the network, the production company. What this means, and pay attention, okay? If you make a hit TV show like Warner Brothers made Friends, NBC paid Warner Brothers to air Friends when it was brand new. They didn't pay 100% of the production cost, but they probably paid 80 to 90% of the production cost. So Friends was almost paid for already in its initial broadcast run. Friends is paid for. So then when it goes into reruns, if it makes 400 million, 500 million, syndicated shows used to make ridiculous amount of money like this. If it makes 500 million for the reruns of Friends, Warner Brothers is making that money. That's almost pure profit. Remember, they've already paid the cost to produce the show. So, and if you could sell it over and over and over again, and if the syndication deal lasts 4 years and then you sell it again and then you sell it again, you could make millions or billions of dollars off one hit TV show. And I haven't even mentioned the idea of selling your show overseas yet. That is another market. Okay. So syndication historically has been a way to make a tremendous amount of money. If you could make a show, it airs once, it's already a hit, and then you keep reselling it over and over and over again. Other syndicated shows are things that are made specifically for the local markets. This never, ever airs on a national network. Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune, as of this recording, are 2 game shows that have been historically very, very popular in the syndicated market. Now we have a news story I grabbed here about Judge Judy. Even though Judge Judy, I assume many of y'all know what I'm talking about, this kind of daytime judge show, even though we haven't been making episodes in a couple of years, it's still in syndication. And it's getting a 4.0 household rating. That is 4% of television households. That's very good. That's very good. Now I'm going to talk just quickly about reality TV shows because I know reality TV shows are very, very popular. Reality TV shows hit big and they can make a big splash at once. So they can be very popular on social media. It seems as if everyone is watching them. However, they do not syndicate well. Think about that. They do not syndicate well. Something like I Love Lucy, which is from decades ago. That's before my time. I Love Lucy could still be in syndication. Friends, that 70s show, Seinfeld, Frasier, King of Queens. I'm trying to throw out shows y'all might know. Family Guy, Simpsons. All of these things can be syndicated and resold year after year. Reality shows tend to fade very quickly. It's like food that spoils very, very bad. So you always need fresh content. So that's kind of like the trade-off with reality TV shows. They hit big, but they do not syndicate well. Okay, back to Amanda Lott's way of dividing up history. Now we have the multi-channel transition era. This is from the 1980s until like early 2000s. We get the rise of VCRs and then DVRs. Think about that, the ability to record a show and watch it back later gives a lot more authority and autonomy to the viewer, and also creates competition for new stuff, because now you can also watch old stuff in addition to just new stuff. We had remote controls. That's something we don't think about. That changes the interface of television greatly and allows people to flip around much more easily than they did before. And now we get the beginning of subscription services where people are actually paying for content. Remember, with broadcast television, it's free. Now people are actually paying for content, originally through cable services. All right, a bunch of initials. A bunch of initials. Here's what you should know. OTT stands for over the top. This is just another way of saying streaming content online. Now, I'm not going to ask you, I'm not going to ask quiz questions about this, but I'm just going to put them out there because they are terms in the industry. MVPD, multi-channel video programming distributor. This includes your traditional cable companies where you would pay one fee to get 100 channels, but it could also include something like a satellite service as well. And then you have virtual multi-channel video program distributors where they're distributing a pre-established package of channels the way cable used to, but now it's online. I think Hulu, as of this recording, has a service like this. There are other ways as well. So you don't have a physical cable connection, you don't have a satellite dish, but you are paying a monthly fee in exchange for a certain group of channels, okay? You're paying for them. Advertising is a way that broadcasting channels made money. Cable channels make money as well through advertising. There's national advertising, there's local advertising. A subscription fee is what you pay to your cable company or your MVPD, okay? If you're paying 70 bucks, 80 bucks, 100 bucks a month, that's a subscription fee. Now here we're getting really inside baseball now, okay? But this is important. This is the point where you should be taking notes and paying attention. A carriage fee goes to a cable network and it is a fixed rate per subscriber. Viewership is irrelevant, right? This sounds very odd, but viewership is irrelevant. What this means is, like, I used to pay Cox. I was a cable company. I would pay Cox like $100 a month and I would get, let's say 100 channels. Lifetime or Hallmark or Home and Garden, channels I never watched, would get something like 15 cents, 25 cents, 30 cents per subscriber, whether or not the subscriber actually watches the channel. Okay. So if there's 1 million people in San Diego who had cable and they all had Home and Garden channel, if the fee is 25 cents per subscriber, 1 million times 25 cents, whatever that is, that's how much Home and Garden gets. Okay. ESPN gets the most. ESPN is off the charts. They get way more than anybody else. Now, a retransmission fee is something different. A retransmission fee goes to a local TV affiliate, not the broadcast network. Now, remember, if you could keep this straight in your head, broadcast television historically has been free. The signal comes over the airwaves into your home for free. When these cable companies, and they started doing this decades ago, they would scoop up all the cable channels, ESPN, Comedy Channel, Weather Channel. They would also grab the local channels as well, the local over-the-air channels, and they're selling that to the consumer. So the local broadcasters, they said, hey, you're paying ESPN, you're paying MTV, you're paying Nickelodeon, you're paying them per subscriber, pay us the same. So a carriage fee is for a cable network. A retransmission fee is money that goes to your local broadcast station in exchange for an MVPD taking their signal and reselling it to a consumer. Okay. That is the difference between a carriage fee and a retransmission fee. And disputes over carriage fees and retransmission fees can lead to blackouts where you try to watch a certain channel in your area and you cannot, because the different corporate entities are having a disagreement over these things. This is, I know this is dated, I know it's old, but it gives you an illustration of what I'm talking about. Here are some carriage fees. I was able to find this from 2019, okay? I think carriage fees and retransmission fees are kind of mixed up in here. History Channel is 25 cents, Lifetime is 75 cents. ESPN is $6 as of this. What this means is that anyone in a particular market who has one of these channels on their cable lineup or the MVPT lineup, whatever it is, if you have access to it, then whoever is providing you that access owes this much money to that channel, whether or not you watch the channel. It's a very odd system, but this was the system that the television industry was able to come up with. This chart, and again, don't pay attention to the specific numbers here, but just get a sense of it. Retransmission fees are a pretty significant part of the television landscape now, okay? Local television stations rely upon retransmission fees in order to remain on the air. 20, 30 years ago, it was zero. There was no such thing as a retransmission fee. So this has come about because of cable and streaming and different things like that. And it's a way, in my opinion, to artificially keep the television industry alive through these retransmission fees. Okay, now we're in the post-network era. This is Amanda Lotz's term. We have DVRs, we have video on demand, we have online, there's mobile television, all kind of different financial models, and a significant amount of viewer control. And I put this up here because spelling is important. That's not the way you spell the word millennial. We have gotten into the era of streaming now, okay? In streaming platforms, there seems like there's more and more that are propping up and appearing every day. You pay money, you pay a subscription for a streaming platform. It is also a new market for the traditional cable and broadcast channels to dump their older product to syndicate. So on one hand, it is a new market for television. It creates more television because we've got to fill up all these channels, but it's also competition for the new stuff. If there's a new live television show that's appearing, you not only have to compete against every other television show that's on at the same time slot, but you have to compete against anything that's ever been created that's available on one of these streaming platforms. There are also streaming services which are owned by a production company or a particular television network. Disney Plus is an example of this. Peacock is associated with NBC. When we talked about the film industry, I did talk about vertical integration and the fact that movie studios at one time used to own their own movie theaters. The Supreme Court, with something called the Paramount Consent Decree, said that that was an unfair violation of trade, something like a quasi-monopolistic practice. I don't know why the rules are different right now. I'm just saying I don't know why, but I do see a parallel with movie studios owning their own film theaters back in the day, and now we have movie studios, production companies, and television networks owning their own streaming services. If you go with one of these stream services, it's not going to provide you channels from the rivals, but these are one of the many types of streaming services we now have in the world. SVOD is a term. If you should know OTT and you should know SVOD. That stands for subscription video on demand. Subscription video on demand. Netflix has pioneered this model. Their TV show House of Cards, which was based on a British TV show, established that SVOD works and you could make exclusive content. I remember when Netflix was just older movies, older TV shows. Now they're making their own stuff. Binge viewing is what we call, and y'all know this, I think y'all are well familiar with this, when every episode of a show, 10, 12, or 6, whatever it is, historically, in broadcast era, it was 22 episodes for a season. We make much shorter runs of series now. You could watch them all at once. Consumers like this. Producers don't seem to like this, though, however. Producers have found, after experimenting with sort of dropping every episode at once, that it's better to put out 2 or 3 episodes at first and then go to this old-fashioned once-a-week model of releasing your content. You can build in anticipation, you can build in hype, you can have social media campaigns running. If you put out every episode of Stranger Things all at once, I don't know if they did that or not, but if you put it all at once, it's hard to control for spoilers. or something like that. So consumers might like getting every episode at once, but producers have grown to like the releasing things in drips and drabs. Okay. And this is a headline I found pretty recent as of this recording from April 21st, 2024. Churn has become a major, major concern for these streaming platforms. People signing up, dropping, getting a free trial, dropping. So churn is a problem. I think the streaming platforms like it when people pay. They don't like it when people share passwords, and they don't like it when people cancel so quickly. So churn is going to continue to be an issue for this new world of streaming. AVOD, here's another acronym, okay? A lot of acronyms. Advertising supported video on demand. YouTube is the best example of this. A lot of the streaming platforms that I mentioned rely on a subscription service, and you need that subscription model if you're going to pay carriage fees and retransmission fees. Remember that. If you're going to be picking up traditional cable channels or traditional broadcast channels. But AVOD is totally free, and it just relies upon advertising to support the content. So AVOD is advertising supported video on demand. And we have something called FAST, free ad-supported streaming television, FAST. What I find so amusing about this is that this is a return to the old-fashioned model of television, where you no longer have control. With these FAST channels, shows start at some pre-designated time. You don't have to pay, there's no subscription fee, but you have ads again. The trade-off is that you don't get that on-demand control. I just know this is complex, and I know it's confusing, but it's complex and confusing for me. But I wanted to hit these main points about the difference between streaming, cable, and traditional broadcast television. And here we have this chart. I'm not going to ask y'all to recreate this chart, don't worry. But on the left, we have the left side of the screen there. We have the content creators. These are the production studios. Okay, these are the studios. This is the farm. The content can then go at the top. We have local stations and the broadcast networks. And then it goes to a local affiliate, and then it comes to you for free, or maybe you pay a subscription for your cable or your MVPD, whatever. But then you also have these streaming services, which are directly owned by the production companies. Another acronym might be DTC OTT, direct to consumer over the top. So this is something that the production company is selling directly to you. And then we also have these fast channels as well, where you're not paying for it, but you're getting, I don't know what kind of content you're getting. In conclusion, okay, here's from the textbook. The number of screens has grown exponentially in the last 20, 30 years. Broadcast television still gets the largest possible audience. Super Bowl, Academy Awards, a big sporting event, something like that, still gets the largest possible audience. The competition for sports is increasing. There's many, many rights issues. There's battles for exclusivity. ESPN, when ESPN has a sporting event that everyone wants to watch, that is why ESPN is able to charge so much for that ridiculous carriage fee. It's 5 or 6 times as much as what anybody else charges, because it's sports content that people want. Sports content has also proven to be historically DVR proof. People might DVR a sitcom or a drama, watch it back later, which means they're skipping the ads, but people will watch sports when it airs, as it airs. So this is why sports is considered such extremely valuable programming. And we're seeing more and more battles for exclusivity and who owns what's. And if you want to watch a lot of sports, it can be quite confusing as to what channel you need. We're seeing an increase in reality TV. It's very, very cheap to produce. It can be extremely popular. You could do different versions in different countries by just casting people from that country. Although I'll go back to that point that it doesn't syndicate well. You're going to have to, if you have a new dating show, a new reality competition show, next year you're going to have to come up with a new one. You're not going to be able to rerun the old stuff and get anywhere near the same return as you once did. The end. Done. Stay tuned for a post-credit scene.
Hello students, at least I'm recording this for my students at SDSU, probably the class JMS 200. I'm not sure where I'm going to use it. Anyway, I just wanted to show this off. This is an abandoned sort of gas station outside. I'm going to walk this way so I can walk and talk. Outside of Las Vegas. I think the exit is Holleran Springs. It's past Baker if you're driving on the 15, I think it's 15 towards Vegas, coming from Los Angeles. Anyway, I've been stopping here because BEA, Broadcast Education Association, always has their conference at the same time as NAB, which is always in Las Vegas in April. Anyway, so I'm coming out here for years, and I saw this place years ago, stopped, took photos. Now we are 2024. I can't believe it's still here, that someone hasn't like converted this into a fast food place, but anyway, it's kind of cool. Take some more photos.